Hello and welcome students for Vijetha IAS Academy Ethics classes. We are solving case studies, case study number 25. This is another example of working with complex procedures. You are a civil servant. If you are a civil servant, some kind of issue will come, ethical versus legal issues. And we are dealing with this one, working with complex procedures. What is the case? The case here is Dr. X, there is a doctor, is a leading medical practitioner in a city. He has set up a charitable trust, through which he plans to establish a super specialty hospital in the city to cater to the medical needs of all sections of the society. Incidentally, that part of the state had been neglected over the years. The proposed hospital would be a boon for the region. So here there is going to be one initiative by the doctor, but that is going to help larger sections of the people. And what kind of legality versus ethics? Legality versus ethical, or legal versus ethical. There is a doctor wanted to establish a multi-specialty hospital, and this hospital is very much required in the region. That state is also neglected part. This region is very much required for healthcare, and he is ready to do, and he wants to do with charitable trust. Charitable trust. Generally, this hospital has to be done by government. In case of India, because people will not have immediately, when everyone is a poor person, then they will not have sufficient resources to establish their own hospitals. That's why government collect the taxes, and these taxes will be given to different sections of the people so that hospitals will be built. But in the last 75 years, government is not able to provide hospitals because same government has to think about schools also. Same government has to think about defense also. Same government has to think about public sector undertakings, salaries of the people, defense equipment, manufacturing industries, many things are there. That's why whatever government is having, whatever amount the government is having, not able to provide hospitals on a large scale where every person will get hospital facility. That's why today also still many children, infant babies are dying, infant mortality rate, maternal mortality rate, mothers are dying, infant mortality, maternity, MMR, maternal mortality rate is going very high, diseases people are dying, and in case of corona, when corona happened, millions of people died across the world, including India also. But official estimates may be different, but in reality, those people who are not covered under the statistics also, many more people will be there. 4 to 5 lakh people, as per the official estimate itself, people died in case of corona time period. Now, if that is the case, is some private individuals initiating to provide this hospital is a very big boon for the particular region, particular country. That is what a doctor is trying to establish a hospital through charitable trust so that he can provide affordable and quality health care for that particular region. That means definitely it is an important initiative. To cater the medical needs of all sections of the people, establish super specialty hospital in the city, all sections of the society. That means poorer sections, middle class, upper class, everyone, all sections, irrespective of the caste, religion, region, income, everything. You are heading the tax investigation agency of that region. During an inspection of the doctor's clinic, your officers have found out some major irregularities. Identified here, major irregularities. Some major irregularities. A few of them are substantial, which had resulted in considerable withholding of tax that should be paid by him now. Immediately, the doctor had to immediately pay. Major irregularity happened. and doctor had to pay now. The doctor is cooperative. He undertakes to pay the tax immediately. He also accepted that he is going to pay immediately. Some major irregularities happened, and in that assessment, he is ready to pay the tax also immediately. That is also so far good only. Only as of now, in the first place, why some major irregularities happened. In previous times, why doctor was not able to maintain proper records. There is some issue there, but the moment you identified your tax officer, or the moment you identified, he is ready to cooperate. That's what he is ready to cooperate and immediately pay also. However, there are certain other deficiencies in his tax compliance which are purely technical in nature. If these technical defaults are pursued by the agency, considerable time and energy of the doctor will be diverted to issues which are not so serious, urgent, or even helpful to the tax collection processes. Further, in all probability, it will hamper the prospect of hospital coming up. However, there are certain other deficiencies in his tax compliance which are purely technical in nature. If these technical defaults are pursued by the agency, considerable time and energy of the doctor will be diverted to issues which are not so serious, urgent, or even helpful to the tax collection process. Then in this case, we have to identify, but definitely there are certain issues, and even they are not important, considerable time and energy will waste for the doctor, and from the tax collection point of view also, they are not even helpful for this process, and not very serious also, not very urgent also. Further, in all probability, it will hamper the prospects of the hospital coming up. Next, there are two options before you. Taking a broader view, ensure substantial tax compliance and ignore defaults that are merely technical in nature. Pursue the matter strictly and proceed on all fronts, whether substantial or merely technical. As the head of the tax agency, which course of action will you opt and why? And here you need to see the gravity of the situation, then you can identify what can be the solution. Tax agency, and this tax agency, charitable trust, major irregularities happened. Once major irregularities happened, once your agency identified doctor cooperative, doctor is cooperating, and also he told that he is going to pay immediately. So far good. Now only issue here is some more technical issues are there. Technical issues related to compliance. They are not urgent. They are not important also from the tax process immediately purpose. Considerable time and energy will go. They are not so serious, not urgent also. Not serious and not useful for tax agency process. He definitely had to pay major irregularities, and he told he will pay, doctor will pay, and moreover he is trying to come up with this particular hospital proposal. He is trying to come up with hospital proposal. So now you see, you have two options. One is leave the matter as it is without worrying about these technical compliances. Second option is, whether it is small or big doesn't matter for you, you want to ensure that he has to ensure everything is ready. If you persist, his time and energy will be wasted. His time and energy will be wasted. And meanwhile, he has some other work that he wants to create hospital. Now, unless you identify the real philosophy behind the governance, then we cannot easily understand how to solve ethical dilemma. If you leave by thinking that he is going to create a hospital. That means you are legally vomiting something. That means tomorrow it may create certain other issues. It appears very small today, and we don't know, sometimes a small appears to be very small today, later it becomes a very big issue. Some small negligence may result in the deaths of many people. Sometimes small negligence in certain kind of compliance may lead to huge scam also later, we don't know. That's why compliance must be there, and otherwise why in the first place law is made for this compliance? While law is made, the lawmakers think in all the directions, and the purpose of these compliances will be there. But no doubt, always these compliances need not to be always perfect also. Sometimes they may be irrelevant also, and that irrelevance had to be removed by the law only. A person who are trying to implement the law, they cannot eliminate, they cannot remove everything, because otherwise if everybody do not follow the respect law, if everybody thinks whatever is correct for them, if everybody start doing that, some enlightened people who know very well and wise people can do perfectly, but what about the rest of the population? That's why law making is given to certain body. In democracy, parliament, legislatures, they will do. If there needs to be change in the law, again this only have to be done, not everybody, because they are specialized in that, they have to do it. Otherwise chaos, again you always try to link with whatever happens. If something happens in the country without any legal basis, if we do not set it right, then it will lead to chaos. That is the bottom line of any problem in the civil service, in governance in the country. Therefore, compliance must be there. You cannot omit it. There must be, that must be there. But second option is strictly following it. And the moment you follow very strictly, and you are even go to the extent of even harassing the doctor also. And again, if you are harassing the doctor is a citizen, and you are a civil servant, you are supposed to serve the citizen, not to harass the citizen. Therefore, let us identify what are the dangers, and by seeing how many limitations are on each side, based on that we can take the decision. Suppose if you are lenient, what is the first option? First option is saying that taking broader view, ensure substantial tax compliance, ignore defaults. If you ignore defaults, so one option, ignore defaults. Then strictly follow, strictly ensure compliance. Then let us try to understand what are the challenges. Advantage is ignore defaults, hospital will come, people benefit. Ultimately, this is what required for all, every governance, every department, every parliament, every legislative assembly in the country. For what they are there? It is for the welfare of the people. Ultimately, that has to be the goal. Public welfare is the center, and public service at the core of everything whatever we are doing in the country. That goal will be achieved. If you follow strictly, then time and energy of the doctor, then harassment, on one hand you are trying to make benefit to the people, on the other hand hospital delay. Definitely we don't want this one, we want this one. That's what advantages. Now, what is the challenge here? These are the advantages, and if you follow this, these are the challenges. So in comparison with this one, it appears to be this is good one. Now what are the advantages of it and the limitations of it? If you ignore challenges, then it will lead to neglect of legal issues. Then doctor may not comply. Today, if you leave for small thing and tomorrow doctor may even neglect even bigger thing also. That's why major irregularities already happened. Already major irregularities happened. Probably because of this kind of technical issue only this kind of irregularities might have happened. That's why neglect of legal issue, doctor may not comply this small issue because you yourself not thinking about it as very important, and doctor also will completely neglect. But if you neglect even small thing today, it may result in big thing tomorrow. That's why some major irregularities also might have happened already. Now it may lead to scam also, because it is a charitable trust. It's a charitable trust. And there was a saying that a very major, if there is a big ship, a small hole is enough to sink entire ship. No matter what big the ship is, a small hole will completely sink entire ship. So similarly, it appears to be very small one, and that small hole, if you ignore it later, entire ship will sink. Means simply charitable trust may involve in a major scam, and even later they may say that government itself ignored this one. I was only following my duties, and whatever I am supposed to do, I am doing. Doctor may say tomorrow, and it will come, punishment will come to you for ignoring, despite knowing it. Despite knowing there is a hole, if you do not know that there is a hole, then that is something different issue. But here you know it, and you know how big it is, and if something happens, small leakage may sink the entire ship itself. That's why whether it is small also, you have to ensure plug it. But for plugging, you need not to harass, and this is where the ethical, emotional, compassion, empathetic attitude towards the citizen will come. Emotional intelligence will come. Aptitude to ensure. Aptitude means the problem solving capability. Try to visualize entire our syllabus. Human value should be there. That means for this purpose you should not harass, and if you harass, this problem, greater good is there, that is going to lose. That's where you have to solve this problem also. And suppose if you strictly ensure compliance, what will happen? And everything will go in proper. There will be no tax related technical issues also. You will ensure that doctor will pay each and every amount that is supposed to be paid. Each and every compliance that is supposed to be complied. Because it appears to be very small today, that compliance, but tomorrow it may be very big issue by neglecting it. You are going to solve that. So that from the tax point of view, you will ensure that the doctor is 100% compliant and 100% amount is collected from the doctor. But in the process, suppose if it leads to harassment, then this is called harassment, and sometimes unofficially it is also called tax terrorism. Create some kind of fear. When it comes to fear, people are always afraid that even to spend through charitable trust also, people will be afraid of spending, and people will take that they will not take the initiative. Proactive initiatives will not be there. Proactive initiatives will not be there. But proactive initiative is very much required for a country like India, where government cannot have funds for everything. Private people who are ready to take this action must be encouraged. Therefore, you have to encourage the doctor to provide hospital and people benefit. Therefore, It's not that, and anyway, this tax compliance mechanism, the tax procedures, everything are to be simplified so that the people, more and more people can easily come and file it. And you ensure that you are not leaving this project also, you are encouraging that person to go for this, and at the same time, you are also not harassing, you are not going to, the problem is the time consuming, energy consuming, harassment, hospital delay. Now the solution is ensure the doctor will not spend much time on it. You help the person, and government department is there to help the people, and you appoint the people below you. There will be some people under your authority who can assist doctor so that doctor will not take much time also. Assist him, and energy also, so that much energy will not take place. Ultimately, doctor has to comply, and if doctor is cooperating. Problem is here there is no issue that doctor is not cooperating here. Doctor is cooperating. It's not that doctor is not cooperating, that's why you have to chase the doctor to go and do everything. Doctor himself is cooperating. You assist further so that time consumption will come down, energy consumption will come down. And also it will not lead to harassment, and it also see that good face of the government. If doctor is very much comfortable in working with the government department, then it will increase more trust on the government. Then more trust on the government, then hospitals also, he will feel very happy that he wants to invest, and who knows, he may create some more hospitals also after satisfying. That's where each and every department is important with respect to increasing the trust of the government, whether it is police, whether it is tax, whether it is a public works department, any kind of department. That is the face of the government. Government generally, when it comes to Raja, when it comes to kings, there will be a face. Raja will be appearing, but here government will not appear in the human format. The people who are working for this invisible entity, only the face of the government. That's why the face of the state are these people. If people enjoy working with the government department, people will be happy to comply each and everything, and people also ready to comply each and everything, provided they will not be harassed, they are not harassed, and they encourage, cooperated, and they are trained. And many people in India do not know how to even file tax properly. People do not know what is legal, what is illegal. That's where, as a civil servant, as the head of the department, you will have some authority to recruit the people, to train the people like this who are cooperating, so that their time and energy will not be consumed much. They also pay each and every documentation, whatever is required. So doctor is cooperating. Therefore, here you need not to worry at all. Just all that you need is encourage the doctor and help doctor by assigning some kind of assistant, so that doctor will have less problem in complying each and everything. Once he get the trust, once government get the trust, through charitable test, he will create one hospital, two hospitals, and so on. It will go on. Therefore, what is the here? Public interest is involved. That's why you always see in the macro picture. Let me read. Ultimately, what kind of solution you are going to opt? I will not ignore, and at the same time strictly ensure compliance is not also recommended. If you ask me both of them, if question is asking which one you choose, it appears this option appears to be better, but at the same time it is not the exactly what, by ignoring defaults is not the complete solution. In comparison with strictly ensure and ignore defaults, small complaints which are not serious, not urgent, it can be chosen, but at the same time that is not the complete solution. You have to ensure that these issues are also solved. You can choose this option, first option can be chosen, but at the same time you ensure you help the doctor, assist the doctor, so that the remaining complaints also will be fulfilled in due course of time. So that is how this kind of issues can be solved. Always whenever there is a complex procedure, here complex procedures you can analyze in such a way that ultimately keep the public interest in mind, larger goal in the mind. If there is any kind of complex procedure, try to simplify it in such a way, ultimately the public good. And all these procedures, all these laws are made for the welfare of the people. In the name of compliance, in the name of law, in the name of the documentation, if public are suffering, then this law had to be changed. That's where law also had to be moral, law also had to be easy. That's why whenever new governments will come, sometimes they used to remove the old laws and they try to bring the new laws and try to bring the new laws which are simplified in nature so that many people can easily comply. And it is a regular process. That's where governments and state also encourages simplicity. If there is any kind of complex procedure, you need to modify so that people will not face difficulty. Ultimately, the objective of the public service is met. This is how you can solve this kind of problem. Any kind of problem, any kind of issue related to meeting, when you are a civil servant, you are encountered with complex procedures, ultimately keep in mind the public welfare in the mind, you will get a solution. Accordingly, you take the decision. All right. Thank you very much.